All right, we're set.
You got the lighting okay on mine? Is all good?
No, you're good, man. You ready to go? I think
Okay,
we're
cool.
ready
Yeah,
set.
do
I
it.
think we're ready to go now. We're good now. So,
Okay.
all right. All right, man. So, Mike, we're back again.
What's
Part
going on,
two.
Angel? How you doing, man?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing awesome.
Good, good, man. It's early in the
Yeah.
day for you, right?
Yeah, it's earlier. I mean, it's about what is it? 7:30 here.
Yeah,
7:40
it's
Alpha time.
it's 9:45. 9:45 my time, Eastern
I'm just
time.
glad we got daylight again now, finally. So
Yeah, man. Yeah, I went to go visit family today and got some fresh air because I need to get out of the house. So quarantine
yeah,
stuff
how was
is
that?
this quarantine stuff, you
It
can't
can,
really
yeah.
do you can't really do much. You can't go shopping, you can't go to a restaurant, you can't go anywhere, man.
No, I know, man. It's I can't wait for it to be over, and it will be over.
Is everything like literally closed on in Canada? Like,
Pretty well, except for the essential stores like just groceries, drugstores. That's about it. Like, if I wanted to go to like Staples, I think they're closed. I drove by the other day and they were closed regular business time. Like, I
really?
wanted to buy a couple office supplies, and they're, you would think that they're an essential service because people are at home, people have home offices, but yeah, I guess not.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
just want usually when I'm on the run, I like to have my coffee, and I'll probably go to Dunkin' Donuts and get my coffee, but I can't go inside. I got to go outside.
essential service.
I don't want to order my coffee. I like to know what I'm getting inside of it.
Yeah, it's like I want my donuts with my coffee.
Exactly. You probably have that. What is it called? Tim Hortons on your
We
side?
got the Tim Hortons, but now you guys have that now too. So yeah, they branched out in the
I
States.
yeah. I think it's like Northern something like that. I don't know, like
Yeah. Have
North
you ever
America
had it?
somewhere in there. Never heard of it. It's an equivalent to Dunkin' Donuts, isn't it?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But
Funny.
but yeah, man. I think today's topic we're gonna be talking about today is anxiety and like negative emotions and what's going through people's minds currently with all
Good one.
these with all this being quarantined, being locked up in the house and feeling vulnerable and what's going on and everything. Um, but what's your take on anxiety and what do you think about that? What's your perspective on it?
I think everybody kind of goes through it at some point in their life. It's just one of those things where you're either stuck in the past or you're really worrying too much about the future.
Right.
You're not finding that common balance. You're not finding that common, um, that median, if you will, and acceptance. One thing I've learned is you've got to feel it to heal it.
Right.
So, what you resist will always persist. And
Oh,
it comes
absolutely.
from the form of anxiety. So this can, a lot of people suppress it. They try to avoid it. They try to, suppress it or mask it with alcohol, with drug
Oh
addiction.
yeah, it's
And
huge.
you've got to really be present with those emotions to not try to numb them so you can actually
Yeah.
heal and then eventually move past it.
And it's funny you mention that because I know that a lot of people are not working at the moment. Some people are unfortunately are out of work and they either got laid off, furloughed, or like I said, they're not working at the moment. And a lot of people are relying on alcohol to help them out
Oh, yeah.
mentally to escape the issues that they're going through. Because like I said, when you're not working, you're not paying your bills, you can't catch up with your finances, and that takes a toll in your life. You know what I mean? That takes a toll.
Yeah.
It takes a toll on your mental health. And
It's
usually,
tough.
and yeah, I know that. The alcohol sales has risen. Like I think like 50% or 40%.
At least,
For
yeah.
some.
In Alberta right now, I just heard it on the radio the other day. In Alberta alone, we are the highest in all of the
Is it
country
really?
liquor sales.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
So I was not really surprised to hear that because I mean Alberta's already kind of been struggling already economically for the last few years now, probably worse than any other province in
Yeah.
Canada. So
Yeah, and it's funny because I will go to it's funny because on the same topic, I will go to the grocery store and I'll see people like they will carry 2 cases of beer and buying alcohol, and they have more alcohol than they do food. And I'm like,
yeah,
wow, that's crazy, man. Like, is
yeah.
this how people are really, you know, being productive during the day is just drinking?
It's become the necessity to kind of use it as a coping tool,
It is.
you know?
That's
Uh,
being comfortable because people start getting depressed. you know, they start going crazy in their house, and, you know, they're not really communicating with their kids or wife or their significant other, whoever, you know, depending on people's lifestyles. Um, it's just taking a toll, you know?
Yeah.
So, so yeah, but I know for a fact, like, you know, I've had my past of anxiety issues, and I've been through literally a lot. And
Sure.
now as an adult, I really just narrowed things down, and I just really had to like focus on my needs and what I needed to do to overtake my anxiety feelings. I mean, don't get me wrong, anxiety is always going to be in your life regardless.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and lie to you that, oh yeah, you know, there's a cure for anxiety. There is no, as far as I know, I'm no doctor. We're no doctors.
You
So
get
count me out on that, because
Yeah, you get better with it. I think you learned you become more resourceful with it as
yes.
you get older, instead of when it's all kind of just coming on for whatever reason, whether it's finances, whether it's school, whatever the case may be. You just become more resourceful, and you learn to have better coping skills better with it, I find.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
And you know, I know that for a fact that when I went through my anxiety issues, it just I wasn't in a good state. I mean, anxiety is basically, it's a good emotion to have because it's keeping you alert.
yeah.
It's teaching you the difference between right and wrong, what's going to happen next, your senses.
Yeah.
It just keeps you alert. Now
Totally.
there is a difference when you have anxiety, small anxiety that's just going to keep you going, but then there's severe anxiety, you know, and then it leads to depression and all that stuff. But um,
Yeah. Like there's
sometimes, yeah, sometimes people like to have anxiety and just let it control their lives, and that's just probably the worst thing that can happen. And I admit this happened to me. I allowed it to control my life for a very long time, and I wasn't being productive. I wasn't being who I am. It took me a while to even finish school, man. Dude, it
yeah,
took me a long time just to finish. It took me a long time just to finish school because I wasn't keeping focus. I had so much in my mind. My mind was always constantly racing, and I just really didn't know how to control it.
Yeah, probably because you're jumping forth back and from the past to the future, past to the future, past to the future kind of thing, right? I know
Yeah,
exactly what you mean, especially with school, because I was there too. It got to the point where for me, when in school, like I couldn't even eat some days.
yeah,
You know,
man.
you
Oh
get
yeah.
any you try to get down, it's like you feel like it's gonna come back up. It was weird. I didn't know what was causing it. I was like,
Well,
what?
it's funny because with me, I mean, everybody's the same, but with me, I'm a foodie, so I used I used food as a mechanism to control my anxiety, to make me feel
All
good,
right.
to calm me down. And, you know, that's how it was all the time. And I was just always fidgety, not concentrating. I'll be in class and I would not even be paying attention to to the professor and find out what they're talking about. I was always the one dozing off all the time. Daydreaming was my go-to.
Oh yeah,
Daydreaming about other stuff. I was never
yeah,
focused.
same here.
Yeah, man, I was never focused. And that was one of my biggest issues. And um, you know, that's what's suffering with people right now, is like with the anxiety, being home all the time. You
Yep.
know, there are other elements that people can take. I mean, people, you know, have anxiety, but a lot of times they don't realize that they're suffering from it, or they realize that they don't have it. You know, people from different backgrounds, people from different ethnic groups. Like I told you, you know, I come from a very old school Latin background where, you know, anxiety is like never talked about in the household.
Oh, same here, dude.
You
I like
know,
it.
that's
Yeah, I
huge.
feel you there.
It's never talked it's never talked in, you know, amongst ourselves. And, you know, if you were to bring anxiety to my dad or anybody in my family, they'd be like, what are you talking about? Anxiety? What's anxiety? What does that even mean?
Misunderstood. It's not understood.
It's never, yeah, it's not understood. So it took me a while to even come to conclusions on how to fix that for myself. And it's all about doing it for yourself and finding ways on how to control it. You're always going to have anxiety. It's good to
Yeah.
have anxiety because it's a good, it's a learning curve. It's the difference. It's that, you know, those mechanisms in your brain where it's just telling you right and wrong, what's going to happen. You know, you sense something's going on and you feel nervous about it.
Yeah, it's your body trying to really tell you something that it's not feeling the center that you should be. It's, you know, sometimes life sucks. You feel like crap. It's all part of being human. You got to kind of surrender to it and not avoid it. So you're not anchored to it like a boat anchor, right? You
Yeah.
got to kind of give yourself permission to kind of feel like shit become resourceful, and just kind of keep moving on.
Yeah. Well,
Something
absolutely.
that can be easier said than done for us because we've kind of experienced it. Um, it's something I've learned from Tony Robbins too, a while back, was the past does not equal the future.
Oh, absolutely.
All that it matters is really being present and in this moment right now, you know?
Right.
Um,
What type of like what type of past issues would you like to share that they maybe you can maybe other people can learn from and from your
oh,
past experience
geez.
with anxiety?
Yeah.
I could go on and on about mine. Mine's like a
It's all
never ending story.
fine. Yeah, yeah. School was definitely one of them. You know, I just, the fear was just building. The fear of exam anxiety was a huge one in
Oh
school.
my
The
God.
fear of, especially with the student loans, and I had a
Hmm.
2-year grant on part of it. So if I didn't keep a certain average, then they were going to cut my grant, and that was going to cut my school. And I was like, oh my God, like, so all these thoughts were kind of building up. You know, and then, you know, you go over the years, you've had some relationship. I've had some relationship struggles there too, with certain, you know, toxic relationships that I've been in before in the past, and you know that doesn't help. That
Oh
sure
yeah,
doesn't help.
trust me. Yep. I know how that
Yeah.
is. And sleeping patterns too. I
Sleep.
remember not
Oh yeah.
able to sleep for nothing, man. I remember when I was in school or going through my issues, I know that I couldn't sleep, man. I would sleep for like a couple hours and I'll always wake up at the same time. I
Yeah.
would
I
wake up
found,
always at the same time, like at 3 or 4 in the morning, and I just had my mind racing. I will get the sweats like you wouldn't believe. It will get to the point where I couldn't even lay down anymore. I would have to like get up and walk around the house just to clear my mind.
your heart's
And
kind of
that
racing.
it's racing, and I just couldn't concentrate. I couldn't go back to school. I couldn't go back to school. I couldn't go back to bed.
Yeah.
It was that bad. So, you know, it was a constant struggle, especially like you said, going back in school. It was a constant struggle. So I know exactly how that is. And even with teenagers nowadays, it's got to be a constant struggle because I know that they're always, you know, with technology changing all the time, you know,
Yeah.
everybody's on their phones and being so occupied by it that they're not even paying attention to society. So, you know, when it comes to
Oh
certain
yeah.
aspects in life, it's just like always being attached to your phone. It's just, I mean, it's good in a way. I mean, you get people have businesses, people have jobs, people use their phones for everything, for email, for text messaging, for Zoom
Yeah.
calls like we're doing right now.
You
I
really
mean,
want to detach from that eventually, though, and really try to find that balance in life. I found with me especially, it was just really finding that balance.
right. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you really don't want to be overdoing it in key areas that, you know, and you're neglecting the other areas. Like school for me, like, what, I don't know what really helped you kind of get through school, but I found meditation helped
Yep.
me over the years. You know, breathing, just simple breathing. Breathing is life. Breathing is everything, right?
Breathing, yeah.
Literally rewired my subconscious to kind of become more calm, more clear, practice more acceptance, more um, just visualizing myself graduating while I was breathing,
That
and it
was,
calmed me down.
yeah, me too.
You know,
Me too.
I
I had
found
to,
uh,
yeah, I would take pictures and I would just put on the wall of people that I looked up to. Um, Sports figures, businessmen, uh, coaches in general, people that I looked up to, and I will look at them. I'll look at those pictures, and it will remind me of being successful. Not talking
yeah,
about money or anything like that. I'm talking about personally successful, being, you
abundant.
know, have exactly being abundant, just having that self esteem. Like, you know, I'm gonna do it one day. I'm gonna finish. I have to finish. I have to finish. And there were times, man, there were times where I wanted to quit. There were times when I wanted to throw in the towel when I said, you know what,
Yeah,
I cannot do this anymore.
yeah.
I
Oh,
can't
I know.
keep
I
up
hear
with I can't keep up with this misery anymore. So, you know, you just have to, it's
you.
all a mind game. I really believe that the mind is just, it's like a chess game every single day.
Oh, all the time.
What's your next move, man? What's your next move? Where are you gonna go? Is this move gonna be good? Is it gonna be the right decision? Am I gonna say the right things? You know, it's all about, you know, when you talk,
Constantly.
the old saying goes, when whatever you always pay attention to what you say,
Yeah.
because words matter.
Oh, words
Words
do
matter.
matter.
And
Yeah.
exactly when you're going through an anxiety attack, you're not gonna think about what's going on. You're just saying whatever's coming on your mind, and sometimes it's not always the right thing.
Because your mind is going faster than anything else.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that even falls into like negative emotions.
Yeah.
But as far as dealing with your anxiety, well, like you said, meditation. You said meditation is very huge on your part. Um, when did you start that? And how long do you go for it? Like, if you want to talk a little bit about it, because I'm still learning. Honestly, I'm still learning about meditation, and that's
Well,
still something
now
that's still new to me.
from now perspective, I can go longer periods of like half an hour to an hour. I've done. I don't do that all the time, but on certain days or certain mornings, if I've got some time, like I'll try and stretch that out for as long as I can. In the beginning, I just try to really force myself to really just center myself and clear my thoughts for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
10 good strong minutes of just simple breathing, focus on just the breath of going inside your nose, and then just nothing else. Just try to clear your thoughts, but don't try to like not think about anything. Like, acknowledge your thoughts, because they're just going to keep coming, right? Acknowledge them, but then go back to breath. This coming in. Oh, I got to do this later. Okay. I'll deal with that later, but now back to breath. And the more you can do that, the more you can kind of train yourself, I find, to really just become more into a calm. Because let's put it this way: if you're in a calm, peaceful, relaxed state, you're going to do your best work.
Right.
Makes sense.
Absolutely.
And that's what helped me, and just kind of said, okay, this is all in my mind. All these things I'm worried about is for nothing, and I got this. Keep telling yourself that, and then just visualizing while you're meditating too, like, hey, I've got this.
I've done a little bit of research on that too, and I believe that doing meditation in the morning is very beneficial, right?
Yeah, first thing when you wake up. Like for me, some people like to do it before bed. I'll try and do it twice a day. I'll do it before bed and I'll do it in the morning, but definitely in the morning for sure. If depends how tired I am too, right? Sometimes I'll just fall right asleep.
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed that when I wake up in the morning, I'm just like, I feel like if I have a good night's rest, I feel like when I wake up, I'm energized. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to tackle the day. I'm ready to take care of my errands. And I feel like when I'm waking up in the morning, because I'm not much of a morning person. So what I do is that I just wake up, I make my coffee and I just sit down in complete silence. And for a good 15, 20 minutes, I'm just recollecting my thoughts.
Yeah, that's
what's going on, or even I just try to be silent and just let my mind just recollect, and to remind myself that you got to start how to start the day and how to manage it, or just be in silence. That way you can just keep your mind on point, keep your mind sharp, and
give yourself the time.
give yourself the time to rejuvenate itself, and to better manage it. It's just all about controlling your mind. Don't let it control you.
Exactly. And I started doing it. The more I started doing that and made it kind of a habit, I mean, anything you do for 21 days or more is automatically going to subconsciously become a habit, right? Good or bad. Yeah. So that was definitely something that I was like, hey, this is really starting to work. I noticed a big shift in how I feel afterwards, and my sleep is better. And I'm a lot more calmer when I'm studying. I'm a lot more relaxed, because when you're studying, you got to be relaxed when you're studying. Otherwise, you're not going to remember shit.
Right. And then another thing too is like, blowing things out of proportion, even when you're going through, when you're dealing with like negative issues, or if, it's just don't blow things out of proportion, because you're not going to, some people overreact in a lot of things. Like I would overreact in a lot, I would overreact in a lot of things where it didn't have to be overreactive. You cannot think about it. You're not thinking about what you're doing. So you're just going with your first reaction, which is negative. Boom. When you're pissed off, I'm done. Sometimes we're not thinking. Now I catch myself just like, okay, stop and just think, okay, wait a minute. Let's visualize what's really going on. Think about what's going to happen. Think about what you're going to say. And because sometimes when you're thinking about something and let's just say an argument's happening and that argument becomes back with you, your first reaction is going to be like, attack me.
Right.
So instead of retaliating in such a quick way, it's just more like, okay, stop. Let's think about it. And then, okay, let me think about what I'm going to say.
Well, the Buddhists always say too, to kind of like observe every situation without reacting. So like, for example, everything that's going on today in our world, observe it without reacting. you know, keep breathing, keep calm. It's just a way of life. Breathing is
Right.
everything. And I think if more people can really start to kind of start doing that, they'll find themselves in a much better position, much better place.
Yeah. And it's all about Buddhism is all about self-adjustment,
Yes.
having self-esteem, being calm. Because let me tell you, like when I went to Thailand and Cambodia, especially Cambodia. Um,
Nice.
I don't know if I've ever seen you. You know Mortal Kombat
Oh, I love
growing
the
up. All
movie.
right, so remember you remember the fort, I guess the castle in the background that they were always
Yeah.
fighting in. Okay, so I went to that fort in
Oh, that
Cambodia.
was Cambodia. I didn't know that was
Yeah, so
Cambodia.
I've seen a few monks walking here and there, and let me tell you, man, the culture over there is just so different from the Western
Oh,
world.
nice.
And I
Yeah.
would, it's just, you'll see monks all over the place, and they're just like praying, they're just giving you prayer, and they were just doing, their rituals, their meditation, and you can just see how calm they are. It's just a whole different mindset, man.
Oh, I love it. I can't wait to go check that out.
It's just a whole, man, it's a whole different world, man.
Nice.
It's just a different culture, and you just really appreciate that especially when it comes to traveling. Really helps with negative emotions, and just really getting out there and seeing the world instead of just being stuck
Your
in
own
your realm,
box.
in your own box, and with just people like-minded, depending on who you are, depending on who your friends are, who your family are. Some people could be around toxic individuals, and
Well, that doesn't help anxiety for sure.
oh hell, oh,
Yeah.
absolutely not. You really have to find your way in life to really battle anxiety. If if you feel like you're always in a negative state, and you feel that you're always upset, you feel like you're not going anywhere, really reflect. Always go back and reflect on what your current situation is.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's the problem, and that's where I came from. I came from some negative background. I had bad friends in the back. Who didn't? Who's perfect? Nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
I'm for damn sure I'm not perfect. But you got to go through your struggles to understand the good.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And if, like, for example, like if you hang around, like for teenagers, if you hang around bad people in your life, if you hang around bad friends, what do you think you're gonna do? You're gonna get in trouble. You're
No,
gonna do bad things
100%.
in your life. You're not gonna be focused on the good things. You're gonna be always doing the bad things, not being home, not being with your family, not being with positive people, not being with good role models. And that's a problem. And that's what I did when I was younger.
Oh, yeah.
I really never had a mentor to really teach me the rights and wrongs. I was always trying to find my own way in life.
Well, your
But
tribe attracts your vibe, right? So like who you
you have
surround
to.
yourself with, it's like,
Oh, absolutely. It's all about who you surround yourself with. Exactly. Exactly.
yeah.
It's like going back to the fundamentals, man. You
No,
know?
exactly. And you got to go back to the basics and really kind of take a look at yourself. Okay, this is where I am. Where do I want to be? It's like Tony Robbins said too. You become the five people you surround yourself with just
Yep.
naturally,
Yep.
just by naturally, subconsciously. Just it is what it is, right?
Yeah, exactly. And like just
So
us doing this, doing this Zoom call, doing this podcast right now, it's just like we're two like-minded people where we're connecting, we're having a good conversation, and we're serving others the best we can, you know?
yeah,
So
because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of other people listening out there that can probably relate in some way, shape, or form at some point in their life. They're probably
yeah,
they're going through that or have gone through that.
yeah.
So it's definitely something that we can relate to for sure.
Well, exactly. And
Yeah.
as far as your brand, like what are you trying to give to people whenever you have potential clients, or you have people going to your coaching sessions? Like what is one of those goals you want to give to people? What are the positives you want to give to them that they're going to walk away and know that they're going to be in good hands?
With me, I want to give as much value as possible when it comes to relatable experience. Because I mean, you name it, it seems like I've gone through it. You name it,
Right.
whether it's schooling, whether it's next move in career, or just feeling lost in between jobs, like I've gone through, or relationships. Like I mean, I've experienced a lot of it, and it's definitely something that I've studied and experienced that I can really, really help and offer a lot of value to people. I want people to really kind of see that there's a lot more better options and there's a lot more becoming resourceful than you really think. You
Yeah.
know, you're not just stuck in your box. You're not just stuck in your own. Sometimes, you know, people can feel like in their own pit of hell.
Right.
You know that nothing's gonna happen, and they just feel hopeless. But you just got to keep circulating. And I'm just gonna try and certainly offer more and more value to people who are in that same situation as I was.
Right. And
So
it's great because I mean I know we're both in similar uh, practices and niches and all that. So I
yeah.
think that giving the best value possible is the best way to go because a lot of people are looking for realness. A lot of people are like, there's so many fake people out there. There's so many fake advertisers, and hey,
Oh,
if you
dude.
get with me, I could change your life for you. I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of
Like
like a red flag right there,
promising
man.
the world, and yeah.
So I'm basically in the same note as far as if any people talk to me or people ask me for advice. I basically like to go into like really 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 deep conversations.
Yeah, I like to
Go into
kind of.
really deep conversation. It's not a regular conversation that I'm having with a certain person. It's basically finding out what the issue is.
Yeah.
Because, people, I mean, you can have a simple conversation. We can have a simple conversation right now by saying, hey, Mike, how was your day? Great. Oh, I had this kind of issue. Oh, okay. What was it? Oh, someone cut me off when I was driving and I cursed at him. Maybe because I was having a bad day. But why were you cursing? You had a bad day. What was your day all about? Oh, I got in a fight with my significant other. I got
I,
terminated today. I did this. I did that. There's always an inner core to the issue that we don't know about.
yeah, there's always something that's going to get projected internally that's going on, projected onto somebody else in a situation like that. You know, if you find some people are just, you're in a good mood, and then you walk into a place and they're bitter and they're just kind of giving you the stink eye. I used to kind of be like, what the hell is their problem? But now I kind of look at it as like, you know what, that person's probably going through something internally,
Right.
and I observe it without reacting. And I've kind of learned that just over the years too. And I'm sure with your brand, with True Achievers, you can kind of definitely kind of relate to some of the things that you've experienced there too, right? You
Oh
kind of
yeah,
react.
absolutely. I mean, I've had people, I've had a client that's basically was going through a really bad divorce and was really trying to find herself.
Yeah.
And I was basically just listening to her story. That's all it's really all about. It's just listening to her story. What's really going on? Finding
Yeah.
that core issue, and that's what people I don't really think that people really understand quite. Don't have a grasp for it just yet. They don't really know about it, but it's just finding that core issue and
Well,
sharing with somebody that's not in your inner circle, which
yeah.
is tremendous. Because if you're sharing it with family members and people that sometimes you won't feel comfortable because you feel like if you tell them your dark secrets, or they want to say, or your personal stuff, you feel like they're just gonna tell to the next person, and it's gonna spread like cancer, and everybody's gonna know your issue. But if I was to talk to you about my personal stuff, not on a personal level, then you will be able to help me out a lot better, and to help me to move on to the next step in my life, or move on to the next step, move on to the next career, move on to the next emotions, or fix your emotions.
Yeah.
So there's so many things that can go into it, um, but that also has to really come with maturity too as well. I mean, people who really, not everybody's gonna want coaching, not everybody's gonna know what coaching is, but it really just comes with maturity.
And
You know what I mean?
exactly. And you brought up a very interesting point with that. Not everybody's going to want coaching. Not everybody's going to want to become resourceful. At least, when it comes to becoming resourceful, you got to show up and participate in your own rescue, because nobody's really going to do it for you. You got to kind of come to terms and say, okay, so I don't feel good right now, but what can I do about this? It's like a person has to really come from a place where they really want change.
Oh,
But they got to
absolutely.
really come from a place where
They
they're
got to
just
really want it because, like I said, I mean, it's not when it comes to coaching, it's not just for anybody. People want, like you
no,
just mentioned, they want to change themselves.
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like I said before in our last video call, that we're not doctors.
We're not, no.
So we're not doctors. We're just advisors. We just like to advise people on what to do. Just give them ideas on how they could change their lives. Share our stories with them, share our mistakes with them, so that way they can't do it later on in life, or, you know, have that relationship connection is just huge.
Yeah.
But it's all, like I said, when I mention maturity, it's all about how they want the help. What kind of help do they want? And are they willing to listen? And it's funny because I think I told you about before we started this video call. There was an article that I read. It was about the 5 qualities of emotionally mature people, and a few of these qualities was like, they don't run away, meaning they don't run away from their emotional state. They don't run away from their current issues. They definitely want to tackle what's going on in their lives, and they want to find out what's going on, what kind of solutions they could come up with to move on.
Right.
Because sometimes a lot of people, they don't like to handle their problems right away. They always like to let it linger, and then eventually it's just always going to bite them in the ass in the end.
No, totally.
So
I agree.
And another thing too is, what I found out too is, they are committed to finding emotional clarity. They're always, like you mentioned before, they're always studying themselves. They always want to find, if they feel they're emotional, they want to find out why they're emotional. What's the core issue? What is the problem of why they're emotional? And I think that's very important when it comes to maturity and being adults. And it might not be adults. I mean, you could have teenagers who are really mature. You know what I mean? They're really mature for their age. But if that's the case, that's great. You know what I mean? What was another one that I thought was really good too? They maintain, like, going back, they maintain a sense of self-respect. You know what I mean? They have to respect themselves in order to move on. And that's one thing too that people don't really pay attention to, is that you have to respect yourself before you respect others, or you talk to people how you want to be talked to. You know what I mean? So if you can't disrespect somebody and not allow that person to disrespect you.
No,
agreed. So it's all about it's all about having self-respect. You know what I mean? Just be professional, be kind to others, be nice to them, they'll be nice to you. That's how it's just law of attraction, man. So I thought that the article was pretty good too.
The self-love component of that is huge. Before you can love anybody or really kind of bond with somebody, like, any kind of relationship or friendship, you got to really kind of grow to love yourself in order to kind of give.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, I mean, you're just going to struggle. It's just going to be one of those things where self-care is priority first before you can really kind of bring yourself to love anybody truly and really kind of give to that person yourself wholeheartedly, sort of thing, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, you gotta, if you're feeling like garbage, you gotta give yourself permission, like you mentioned. You gotta kind of get that clarity and give yourself permission to feel those feelings, so you can kind of move on from there. And
they have to do it for themselves, man. No one's gonna do it for you. I mean, I know for a fact that you didn't. I mean, you didn't. No one really held your hand throughout your childhood every single day. I mean, we always have our parents for love and always be there for you. But as an adult, you got to do things for yourself.
As an adult, I mean, the anxiety was totally different. And then I discovered working out, and I discovered exercise, and that played a big role for me too.
Absolutely.
Coping with it. For me, it was just keeping my body moving and getting those endorphins released naturally. And then you can kind of say to yourself, okay, like, I just had a really great workout. I'm no longer stressed. Now I'm ready to go do this, and that. You put yourself in a better kind of a peak state, as I mentioned before, right?
Mm-hmm. So it just gives you that sense of accomplishment too.
Yes. No, 100%.
You know what I mean? Like, you have to take care of everybody. You have to, and that all goes back to anxiety. It just helps that mind, to clear your mind and all that stuff. Sometimes you have to, like right now with everybody going through quarantine, everybody's stuck at their house. Go outside, take a deep breath. If you don't want to go
Yeah,
walking, then, you know, just,
life is still beautiful. I mean, you know what? Things are still, just look on the
there's
plus.
always a benefit for it, man.
Exactly. Life is still beautiful. Like there's a lot of be that light, like I mentioned before, be that light when there's darkness. I mean, life is still great. There's still a lot of things
Exactly.
to look forward to. I
There's
mean,
something in,
we have 6 human core needs, just to kind of add to that, you know, certainty, variety, significance, love, connection, growth, and contribution. You know, we as humans, we have those 6 needs as a requirement in every one of our lives. And when you
right.
kind of become clear and concise with that, like for example, for me with my coaching with Universal Mind, Body, Soul, I'm not going to really tell anybody what to do. My whole role in providing value is to really get what that person wants, is to really help them get what they want to achieve.
Right.
Really get to their core and really figure out exactly what is holding them back, and really try to, you know, achieve what they're looking for, get them to where they want to be. You know, that's my job as a coach.
Right.
That's how I feel about it.
Oh, that's, you know, like I said, that's just something that you have to, you just have to take accountability for yourselves.
Exactly.
And that's how it is, just to fix that mindset. And right now, I mean, there's going to be a benefit. There's a benefit to this. There's a reason for everything, man. And it's funny because when I want to get out of the house, or when I want to just clear my mind, I'll go outside. And what's great about it is that I see people walking out with their dog, walking together,
I love
and
that.
walking their dogs. And I
Yeah.
even, you know what the funny part is, man? You see kids walking, playing, they're playing outside. They're finally
Good.
playing outside. It's
Good.
going back to the fundamentals. And it's the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest thing. I'm walking outside and you see people outside and I'm like, okay, this is not normal. I'm not used to this.
I know, right?
But then you go back to your childhood and you're like, you were always outside. You were always I was playing basketball, I was playing football, I was playing baseball, my friends outside. Yeah. And, you know,
bike riding, a lot of sports.
We live in such a fast-paced world where we forgot about all that.
100%.
We forgot about the fundamentals of life. And that to me just puts a smile on my face, because I'm like, wow, there is hope. There is people doing things. They're not inside watching TV all the time. You know, not that I'm saying it's a bad thing, but I'm saying at least go out, get some fresh air, realize that, you know, life's too short. Life is way too short. We're a little speck in this universe. We're nothing.
Exactly. And kids are only going to be kids for so long. They got to experience what it's like to actually be a kid, to actually go out there and just be a kid, instead of, you know, being cooped up indoors all the time. Or like I mentioned before, having the electronic babysitter kind of take over with their tablets or.
Yeah, nowadays that's so easy. Just pick up the phone and here it is. I got it. I'm just going to go on my phone for about 2 hours.
I'm going to do my thing for the couple hours, and then they're going to be on that thing for the next, killing their brain cells for 7 hours a day. It's like,
yeah, if they're not doing now, you know, if they're not doing anything productive, of course it is. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're going to have, and that's where social media comes in. Social media, like we spoke before, social media is causing a lot of insecurities out there.
It is, because people are comparing themselves a lot to other people's lives.
Yeah.
Right?
You know, in the past, they'll take a picture with a car. They'll take a picture at the lake. They'll take a picture in the boat. Yep. Oh, I wish I was them. How come I don't have that?
My life is so great. Right? I mean, you compare
exactly.
They're really zeroed in on that, and they're taking the emphasis off of what's real and kind of just comparing themselves to that image.
Right. They're not being themselves. That's one of the things I really realized I studied about social media, that people are not really being themselves.
Yeah.
They're just trying to create this persona that they're really not. And, you know, eventually it just bites them in the ass at the end.
Yep.
And now with this, now the funny part is with this, you know, with this quarantine and lockdown, it's going to expose people at the end.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, now is really kind of the time for everyone to try and really kind of dig deep and reflect. Like you kind of mentioned earlier about reflecting, really kind of dig deep and think, what am I passionate about? What's something that it's like really emotionally compelling that I love? Not just I like, maybe write it down. It's like, what do I absolutely love? Like if I wasn't getting paid for it, I would love to be doing that sort of thing. Like, you know, people should be really kind of looking in on that, staying present and saying, okay, I got all the time in the world right now. What's something that I used to do or I used to love before society kind of shifted my thinking into thinking that wasn't the way I should go? Or I should, you know, take this in school instead and you know what I mean? Or whatever the case may be. I'm just kind of throwing out examples here.
Oh, of
But
course.
I think it's kind of shifted people into a very narrow path, into thinking that they have to do or do this for a certain living, or earn this money, but they're not happy doing it, and
Yeah,
instead
man.
kind of taken
That's
away
huge.
from what they
That's
wanted to be
huge.
when they were a kid, or what really made them happy when they were a kid, you know,
Right.
until society kind of got to you, right? So I think now is kind of the time. Everything happens for a reason, exactly like what you said. Now is kind of the time to kind of become present with that and say, okay, what am I really passionate about? Like straight up, like what do I
Exactly.
really
And
love to do?
right. And that's when it going back to like when it goes back to traveling. Sometimes, I would when I go to a different country or whatever, and I just realize, man, what a culture shock it is. Not
Yeah,
everybody knows me just because you're from a certain country. You're from the United States, you're from Canada, you're from Australia, you're from Japan, doesn't matter where you're from.
yeah,
People are just so accustomed to their everyday lifestyle. Whereas when they go somewhere else, they go to a different country and you don't really know anybody there. And it's just a huge culture shock. Nobody cares, man. Nobody cares about who you are. Nobody cares about what you bring. I mean, I'm not saying it in a negative tone. I'm not saying it in a negative way.
no, I feel
I'm
you.
just saying a lot of people, some people think that, they're so full of themselves where they feel like they're important.
Yeah,
Well, technically you are important. You're important to yourself. You're important to your family. You're important to your friends. You're important to your loved ones. But you have to remember there are other people out there that value the same things, or they value different things. Like I'm saying, like people, when it comes to coaching, people don't care about coaching. People don't even want coaching.
yeah.
That's fine. Well, we're not here
That's
just to
their
coach
choice.
anybody. It's up
That's
to you
their
if you want it or not. You know what I mean? But
perfect. So that's their perfectly good choice on their part. So
exactly. And like I said, it's just when I was traveling, I was just get a culture shock where it just teaches more about myself and learning other cultures and
traveling is
learning where other
awesome.
people are
Yeah,
from. You know what I
traveling
mean?
does that for sure.
It really does. And there's so many ways to do it, and it's just so beneficial. Um, but like I said, there's just so many things that go into that. But yeah, man,
So
anxiety is
what
one of those things. Huh? What?
has helped you? I was going to ask you, what has kind of helped you kind of get over, a lot of your anxiety over the last while, over the last,
Wow, man, you know what I did? You know what I've
day.
been doing? Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You know what I've been doing for the past 2 years, man? I really established a morning ritual, man. A morning
Yeah,
ritual and a daily
morning
ritual. I
ritual.
think that
Yes.
creating a daily ritual has just really helped me change my life. It changed my lifestyle. It really made meaning to who I am as a person and how I want to conduct my life. In the past, I was just always a mess. I was never organized. I was always a mess. I was never, I was never keeping tracks of my finances, never really doing the things that I needed to do that really made me the person I am today.
Right.
But
And what did that
just
include? What were some of the things that were included in those morning rituals that kind of
what
stand
were
out for
some
you
of
the
the things I
most?
was doing? I was just basically, I will get up. It was just basically a timeline. I will wake up at 6:30 in the morning every single day,
Nice.
and I will get up, have at least 20, 15 minutes to myself, and reflect and get my day going, have my cup of coffee, and just take time for myself. That's just my type of morning ritual. Then I would, before the lockdown, I would go to the gym or I would ride my bike. Those
Yeah.
were my main goals that I need to get done. My body was craving some sort of activity in the morning because that's how I felt. Then afterwards, I would come back home and I will start working on my brand and my coaching stuff, and then from there I will go to my 9 to 5. After my long day at work, then I will come back. I will still go to work on my coaching brand, my True Achievers Group brand, and I will start communicating with people and coaching people and coaching my clients, getting in contact with people, and that's how
Right.
I will conduct my day. And for the past 2 years, it's just been creating such an abundance for myself and creating my own identity that's changed me, and that's just changed
Right.
my whole lifestyle in general, and it's just made me a happier person, and it just made brought organization to my life that I like to advocate and I like to share with others to give them ideas on how to do it. Because sometimes I feel that people, even adults, people just live their lives in a fast pace. We live in such a fast paced world that we forget about the important things in life. And
Right.
you know, when it comes to forget about kids, forget about your daily routines, people not working out, people feeling bad about themselves. And there's always an outcome. There's always a good outcome when it comes to that. And I
So
think
would you
that,
say that was a huge like paradigm shift for you?
oh, huge paradigm shift, huge
Yeah.
paradigm shift. It just
Nice.
made things so much clearer. It made my anxiety way down. Like I said, I still have anxiety. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. I don't have any more anxiety, because then I'll just be fooling everybody. Just,
But you're more controlling of it now, and you've become more
oh yeah,
resourceful.
absolutely. I'm more weight controlling. I know how to control it. Once I feel my blood boiling, once I feel like my mind's racing, once I feel um, fidgety, I can't stay still,
Yeah.
I can't concentrate, then I stop what I'm doing right there and then. I stop what I'm doing. I would walk away and just recollect my thoughts, reset my mind, and go back to what I was doing, and go with that process and finish the day as best as possible. Now, I'm not saying here every day is going to be perfect, because no day is perfect. You're going to have bad days, but how do you leave the bad days on that day? Like, every time you wake up the next morning,
Right.
the last day that you had the day you had prior was bad. Leave
Yeah.
it. That's done. The day's done. Learn from your mistakes. Learn from your mistakes
Yeah.
and move on with your day. Move
So
on
you've
with your next task and keep on doing what you got to do.
you've learned to kind of stay more present.
Oh yeah, being present with yourself, being present with what you got to do
Yeah.
is the fundamentals, man. It's just it really changed me it really changed me as an individual, for sure. For
That's
sure.
awesome, man. That's really awesome to hear.
What
Yeah.
about you?
Same thing. Yeah. Morning rituals definitely help me. I make sure that I don't go another morning without kind of taking that time to myself. The first thing I do when I get up is I have a meditation for about a good 20 minutes during the work week, especially. And I'll get out and just go do some cardio, kind of take a look. And maybe right after that, I'll just kind of write some things down I'm going to do for the day, kind of plan my day out. And then I'll come back to some affirmations that I like to kind of do, and I mix it up. Like I'll start the day off with, with an I am kind of a meditation.
Right.
Like I am becoming the best version of myself. I am feeling abundant. I am so happy and grateful now that, and then I just list off 3 to 6 things in my mind that I'm happy and grateful for. Like
Absolutely.
gratitude is huge for me. So I try to do that every single day. Depends on the work week. I mean, if I get a call or an email that I got to attend to, then that kind of delays the process a little bit. So, but I try to get that done at least every single day, and it's helped me. Like, the affirmations are huge. Meditation is huge, and collecting your thoughts, just like you kind of mentioned, taking that time to yourself is such a vital thing. And getting the cardio into, I find kind of get yourself moving first thing in the morning helps. So I try to get up at about 6:37ish. Sometimes it's 7:30, depends on how late I stay up till.
Right.
Working on my brand,
Yeah,
working
absolutely.
on the website, working on all sorts of different things, and
And and like you said, man, I mean, the mind. I mean, we as individuals, we never stop learning. Oh,
exactly.
as it depends on the person, but as far as us, I mean, we never stop learning. We never want to keep our mind at the same routine. We always want to change things up, and we always want to learn as much as possible,
Yeah,
because that just keeps the dopamines going and keeps you
totally.
energized. And once I learn something new, I just doesn't erase from my head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just love learning and going to like podcasts or
Oh,
going to
totally.
audiobooks.
Yeah, same here.
As far as right now, like even where, being quarantined, being at home a lot, um, I think self-education is huge, man. Just, getting some courses online. Like, I think we spoke about it. I think I got you into like
Yeah,
udemy.com, where you
yeah,
can like, you
yeah.
can just basically
Definitely worth it.
self-educate, and you can
Yeah.
find everything possible that you want in there. If you want to work in the
Honestly,
IT.
exactly. No, Angel, honestly, when you brought that up, that's a very good point. Self-education is probably the new norm, I would say. It's definitely heading into that. And if I
Right.
would have looked into self-education years ago, I would have probably did this first, but long before I would have ever considered even going to get a college degree. And you know, I found that the more I learned on my own was more valuable, and I took away from it more than I learned in school. You know, at least in my own experience, it was kind of like that. I found.
Yeah.
I'm a nonstop learner too myself. Like I
Yeah.
find it almost kind of like a very positive addiction because I like to learn and listen to podcasts while I'm working out. I listen to an audiobook in the car when I'm driving.
Oh
So I'm
yeah.
kind of like feed my mind with more
It's so
material that I'm not.
with like I said, man, with today's technology, there's so much material out there that it's incredible, man. You can go to Google and just ask Google about a certain topic or something you want to find out. We don't even use the dictionaries anymore, man.
Yeah, I know exactly.
That's how old we're getting. The
It's all digital.
dictionary.
Yeah.
Dictionary, yeah. Well, no, just ask Google.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. But yeah, man. I guess we could just leave it there, and
Sure.
we'll continue our conversations, and we'll probably come back next week and come up with another topic, and we can talk about it.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. It's always a pleasure, man.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Touch base again next week, and yeah, I'll talk to you soon.
For sure, dude. We'll take it easy and be safe, stay healthy, and wash your hands, man.
Yeah, keep them dry.
For sure. Later, man.
Okay, man. Have a good night.
You too.
Yes, yeah.